All right, I wanted to make a video going through this AP Chapter 10 multiple choice review. I figured out a better way of collecting responses and being able to give you feedback. So moving forward, I won't have to probably make a video like this. But I just wanted to make sure you guys all could see what the correct answers were. So here we go. So I'm just going to walk through it. So I'm going to take this, I don't know, not a quiz, but I'm going to do this. All right, so the first question is identify which test would be used in this situation. I'm reading through the problem and I see the word average. Here, maybe let's see if I don't know if I can write here, but I see the word average, so I definitely know that it's not a two proportion anything. So it's not this first option, it's not this option down here. It's got to be a two sample or matched pairs. I can rule out the two sample z-test because z does not go with mean problems. So that means it either has to be a two sample t-test or a matched pairs t-test. Looking at it, we've got 15 randomly selected high schools. But one of the groups is urban and the other group is suburban. So we have two separate groups. The only way it would be matched pairs in this case is if they said something like they paired up an urban school with a suburban school. And they don't say anything about that in the problem. So we have two completely different groups that we are gathering averages on, that we're comparing. So that would be a two sample t-test. Moving on. This one, we're supposed to find the p hat combined. So we have a little formula for that. I can maybe write it right here. No, I gotta get a pen. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to make this so you can see everything. Okay, p hat combined, we have a formula for that on our formula sheet. It's x1 plus x2 over n1 plus n2. We have two different proportions in this problem. We've got a proportion for Asheville, and for Asheville it said that 17 out of the 60 days. And then for Lincoln, it said 12 out of the 60 days. So we can make this our x1, n1, this our x2, n2. So then to get my PC hat, I would do 17 plus 12 on top, and on the bottom 60 plus 60. Type that in your calculator, and you're going to get 0.24166. So going over here, it looks like 0.2417. That would be the correct answer. Moving down. Here we're supposed to find the p-value. So I'm going to use my calculator for this. Okay, blank page. I have two proportions. I have a proportion for Lincoln and I have a proportion for Asheville. So I have two proportions. So if I'm going to find a p-value, I'm going to go to Menu, Statistics, Stat Tests, and then this would be a two proportion z-test. I have two proportions, one from Asheville, one from Lincoln. Z goes with proportions. And then I'm going to enter in all that information. And I already kind of wrote all that down. Let me slide this over. Okay, So x1 would be 17, n1 is 60, x2 is 12, n2 is 60. And then what should I do for my alternative hypothesis? Well, right over here it has a not equal to symbol. So I'm going to leave it as a not equal to. I'm going to hit OK. In the problem it says the test statistic is 1.07. We can back that up because here's the z test statistic. 1.066 would round to 1.07, so that looks good. And then here's your p-value of 0.0286. So I'm going to click that. That's the right answer for the p-value. Number 4, we're going to do a confidence interval, a 99% confidence interval, and we're looking for the margin of error. So I'm going to go back to my calculator and do menu, statistics, but this time it is a confidence interval. So go to number 6, and then this would be a 2 proportion z interval. Again, we have a proportion for Asheville and a proportion for Lincoln, so we have 2 proportions, and then z goes with proportion problems. So click on that, and then again we have to enter in that same information. 17 out of 60, 12 out of 60, and then be careful, we're supposed to do a 99% confidence interval, so I have to change this to a 0.99, hit OK. And this problem was asking for the margin of error, which is the ME, 0.200. So that would be the correct answer. Oh, I wanted to go back really quickly to number 3. I saw a lot of people who had 0.142 as their answer. That's, if you guys got that, you were looking up on your Z chart. So you looked up, but you looked up on your Z chart and you forgot to double that because it's a not equal to symbol. So if you double 0.142, then you get 0.286. So that's the mistake you would have made if you got that as your answer. Going back to number 5 now. So we're supposed to figure out what the hypotheses are for this situation. This is a problem involving means. I'm given both of the means here. When you write your hypotheses, the symbols that you use need to be population symbols. So anything involving X bar is wrong. So rule out D and E, those are definitely wrong because those are using sample mean symbols. We should be using population mean symbols, so mu's. If you look at A, B, and C, the null hypothesis is the same for all of those, so it boils down to the alternative, whether or not it should be greater than, less than, or not equal to. So we got to read the question carefully. We want to test if the 2 varieties are significantly different in their mean carbohydrate content. So we're looking to see if there's a difference. It doesn't claim that one is higher than the other. So since we're just looking for a difference, the correct answer would be B. Not equal to means there's a difference. The null is saying there's no difference. The difference is 0. The alternative is saying there is a difference. Number 6, what would our conclusion be? Our alpha is 0.05. Here's the p-value. I don't even need to use my calculator because they gave us the p-value. Compare that p-value to the alpha. This p-value is greater than alpha, so we would fail to reject the null, and that means we do not have enough evidence for the alternative. So we gotta look for the option that says something about failing to reject the null and not having enough evidence. And that's what E is saying. We cannot reject the null. We do not have enough evidence that the carbohydrate contents are different. So E is correct. Number 7, you had to just identify the correct formula. Let me write it out here. So for your T test statistic, the formula looks like this. X bar 1 minus X bar 2 over the square root of S1 squared over N1 plus S2 squared over N2. So notice that that square root goes over everything in the denominator and that these S's are squared. So if you look at your options, D is out because those square roots are separated. B is out because the standard deviations aren't being squared. And then A is out because they only have the square roots and the denominators of the denominator. So that's not right. So the only one that looks correct is C. Okay, number 8. This is comparing normal sleep to extended sleep. Let's see, it talks about, I'm trying to get my pen here. Okay. So we've got subjects who had to perform. What do they have to perform? I don't know. We don't know what they're performing, but we're comparing their performance. 2 normal nights sleep versus 2 nights of extended sleep. It says the order of the 2 treatments were determined randomly. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, this is subject A, and subject A has 2 values. 2 treatments were applied to subject A, and it says those treatments were determined randomly. For subject B, we've got 2 values, 2 different treatments were applied to subject B. This is a classic matched pairs. So when one person is given 2 treatments and those treatments are randomly determined which one goes first, that's matched pairs. So this is a matched pairs t-test. And then number 9, type the data in your calculator. What is the value of the sample mean we should use? I guess going off of context clues, mean is singular here, so there should only be one answer. So a lot of people answered both 125.1 and 102.8. That's wrong. There should only be one answer. It did not say means plural. And when it's matched pairs, I'll bring up my calculator. We're interested in the difference between those two. So I've got normal sleep, I've got extended sleep. When you're doing matched pairs, you want to create a third column. And I'm going to do normal minus extended. Oh, and the reason why I'm subtracting those, let me go over here. In the problem, it said that it thought extended scores were lower. So if I do normal minus extended, then my normal scores should be higher and my extended scores should be lower, so I should get a positive difference. I think typically people like having a positive difference, so the higher one first minus the lower one second. You don't have to do it that way, it's just a lot of people do. And then up here I'm going to call it, don't call it the same thing you've been, like, I know I've done diff before and I've done D before, so I think I'm going to do difference. Maybe not. Oh, it's not letting me type, so I might have to go this route. Well, I'm having a little bit of technology issues because it won't let me type anything. Darn. Okay. Well, it's not going to let me show you. Darn. Let me think. Sorry. Now this is going to last longer than I was intending. But the idea is the mean that you want is only from that third list. We don't want the mean of the normal sleep or the mean of the extended sleep. We only want the third list. Yeah, it doesn't recognize it, so I'm going to have to retype everything in. Fun. Okay, I'm sorry. I tried to have it preloaded. Okay. Okay, cross your fingers that this works. Normal. Ah! Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna call it that again. That's annoying. Okay, let's try this again. I don't think it's gonna like normal. That's a command. I'll just do Norma. Okay. And I can't do ext because it's gonna think that's something else. Okay. So Norma minus extend. Okay, so far so good. Okay. Whew. All right, so sorry for how long that took. Now I'm going, because the whole thing I'm trying to figure out is the mean that we want to use when we're doing a matched pairs. So I'm going to go to a blank page. I'm going to do menu 611. And the only list that I care about is the difference list. I don't care about the normal list or the extended list, only the difference list. Hit OK. And the X bar that I care about is 22.3. That was a very long way to answer that question. Sorry. If you did normal, I think it was the 125.1. And if you just looked at extended, I think that was the 102.8. But those we don't care about. We only care about the differences between them when we're doing matched pairs. Value of the t-test statistics. So now we're going to go do a matched pairs t-test. So menu stats, stat tests. If you're doing matched pairs, you just have to select t-test. There's nothing in here called matched pairs. I have the data because I typed it all in. Now, when you are doing matched pairs, let me write this out here. We're only dealing with one mean. So our null hypothesis would be that the mean of normal minus extended equals 0, meaning that there's no difference, or that the difference is 0. The alternative, in this case, remember we were thinking that the difference would be positive because we thought extended sleep scores were going to be lower. Normal sleep scores were going to be higher. So if we're taking a higher number minus a lower number, we should get a positive difference. So the alternative would be the mean of the difference of normal minus extended would be greater than 0. So the mu0 is from your null hypothesis, and the null hypothesis is 0. And then the list that we want to use is the difference list. And then the alternative, I have to change that to a greater than. Again, because that was what my alternative hypothesis was. Hit OK. And the question was asking for the value of the test statistic. So the test statistic was 1.52868. So that would be 1.529. Question 11 is asking for the p-value. Here's the p-value, 0.080. So there's the p-value. And then the last question was just what topics do you need help with? So I looked at your comments, and I'm going to make a video that kind of goes through the difference between matched pairs and two sample a little bit more. How you, like, what are all the different kinds of tests and intervals, and like what are keywords that help you decide what kind of interval or test to use. And then just kind of talking about the difference between proportion problems and mean problems. How do you know if it's a phantom or a panic? That sort of thing. So kind of your frequently asked questions. I'll do a video of those to kind of address the questions you had in number 12 here. So hopefully this helped, but feel free to come to office hours. Watch the other video that I'm going to make addressing your questions from number 12. See if that helps. But feel free to reach out to me if something's just not quite clicking. All right, thanks.